What's up, Buttercup? It is me, it is she, Bobby P. And I have to tell you, Buttercup, like as a big sister or a cousin or just a good friend, okay? Don't be a Sheila. Do not be a Sheila. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I was thinking last night, I was minding my business, doing my due. And for whatever reason, Sheila popped up in my mind. And I was just sitting there, I was like, oh my gosh, do not ever be a Sheila. Now, there has been a time in my life I was a Sheila. I really was a Sheila, okay? I embodied that persona, the characteristics of Sheila. And now, as I have lost weight and I'm just learning myself more and more and more and growing into just to an amazing, beautiful, fine woman, I'm just noticing a lot of things I used to do. And I'm just like, do not be a Sheila. Sheila was a pushover, okay? Sheila was a pushover. The way she allowed, Mike to do whatever, say whatever, that is pushover behavior. You are allowing this man to talk to you crazy. And no. Sheila was a pushover. She had no self-esteem at all. Because if she had some self-esteem, she would not have stayed in that marriage as long as she did. And then she just would have took better care of herself. And that's another thing. When you are a Sheila, you put everyone else before you. So therefore, you get lost in the sauce. Therefore, you're putting others before you. So now you're not going for your pretty and healthy girl walk. You're not meal prepping your food because it's a sign of self-love. You're not drinking your green juice because you are pouring into everyone else's cup instead of pouring into yourself first. Okay? Sheila accepted scraps. Oh my gosh. She accepted scraps of a marriage. She accepted scraps of a friendship. Because that girl that's supposed to have been her friend that was actually sleeping with her husband, even though she had, I guess, her friends originally from college or whatever, and they would do this trip once a year, still, that's, to me, it's still scraps of friendship to an extent, because y'all are not checking in on each other as often as you should. And yes, I get adulting and I get life, but it comes a point in time where it's like, hey, you gotta check in on your peoples. You gotta check in on your peoples. So, like I said, she was accepting scraps. And honestly, Sheila was stuck, okay? Sheila was stuck in an old dream, but living in a nightmare. An old dream. So let's just say when her and Mike did get married, maybe it was actually decent in the beginning. Okay, I haven't watched the movie in a long time. I haven't. But maybe in the beginning it was decent. Maybe it was great in the beginning. And then it slowly, gradually just started fading and turned into the nightmare that it was. But Sheila was still hoping, still believing in the faith, the dust, the pixie dust, and Disney magic that this man was going to become a great man, or maybe he's going to go back to how he was when they first got married. And it's like, sis, you're living in a dream. You are still thinking of how it used to be, but your real life is a nightmare. So, no, don't be a Sheila. Once stuff has run its course, far as friendships and even relationships, once it's run its course, you got to let that stuff go, Buttercup. You have to let that stuff go. It can be hard and it can be hurtful, but you got to let that stuff go. I will tell you real quick, I was in a relationship years ago before I met my husband. And the guy, he was, love bombing me. He was doing all these great things for the first 3 to 4 months of the relationship, right? And then, Buttercup, he slowly started just pulling back off the love bombing. He would send flowers maybe like every week, and then he stopped sending flowers every week to every 2-ish weeks, and then it was like once a month, and then it just stopped. But guess what I was doing? I was still, sending care packages. I was still, being present and doing all these things. And I was just like, oh, he's just busy. He's just this, he's just that. And I was hoping, because he had love bombed me so much, he had been so great in the beginning, I was still holding on to the beginning of the relationship, realizing, buttercup, that was the beginning. Realizing that was the beginning of y'all's relationship. He is not doing that no more. He is not putting the effort in no more. He is comfortable, and now he is in a state where he wants you to do everything. He wants you to do all the gifting and showing signs of care, that you care for him. Almost like you have to prove your love to him before he can show you how much he cares for you. But that doesn't make sense, because in the beginning, you were showing the quote unquote love and stuff. So that's how you can be stuck in an old dream and living in a nightmare. And that's what Sheila was doing. That's what Sheila was doing. If you are a Sheila, stop it now. Sheila was naive because she thought everybody was her friend. And I'm just like, girl, I'm watching the movie when it first came out, and I'm like, sis, you don't see how this woman is like looking at your husband? You don't see how she's acting, how she's dressing? Because ladies, you know how your friends are and how they can be around men. And that's why sometimes you don't bring certain friends around your man, because they're going to be extra. And of course, the man is supposed to hold himself down regardless. But then it also becomes to a point of, girl, I thought we was cool. I thought we were cool. But you all over here in my man's face. Like, don't be a Sheila. And I was a Sheila. So I'm telling y'all from experience, do not be a Sheila. It's not worth being a Sheila when you're naive like that, when you think everyone is your friend. I'm going to tell you another quick story time. And this guy, and it's the same one that I was talking about earlier. And I was in that phase of, oh, you got to meet my friends. You got to meet my friends. And one of my supposed friends of 10 years, when she finally met the guy that I was dating, at that time, when she met him, y'all, she wore a sundress. And nothing wrong with sundress. It's cute. But y'all, she wore a sundress. She didn't have no bra on. She didn't have no panties on. So it was giving a full, view. Even though it was still a sundress, it was showing a lot. And yes, we're friends. Well, at that time, we're not friends no more. But there's just certain rules that you do and what you don't do. So if it's just me and her hanging out, yeah, girl, you can wear that outfit. You can be cute, and I'm going to be cute with you. But if you're meeting someone's, boyfriend, husband, someone that they're dating, you don't wear those type of outfits. Because, yes, you're still going to be cute. But it's like you're purposely advertising. And I was just like, okay. I found that a little odd that she wore that type of outfit for her to meet the guy that I was dating at that time. And she was the one that was like, well, I need to meet whoever you're dating, because I got to make sure that they're taking care of my girl and this, and that. And even when we would hang out, she would wear cute stuff, but really she just wore chill stuff. But it's like all of a sudden, when it's time to meet the guy that I'm supposed to be dating at that time, you want to wear the most skimpiest, revealing outfit. And she had body. She did. It wasn't no shade. I wasn't hating at all. But I was just like, girl, I wouldn't do that with your man. Like, I would still wear something cute, but it's just more of a respect thing, because you just don't want to be wearing, nothing that's just too much. Now, if you don't wear too much, and it's like, I would, if we're doing like a date night or a double date, and you're going to be extra, and I'm going to be extra, by all means, yes, sis. But this was more of a chill, just get together of, supposed to be my friends meeting the guy that I was dating at that time. And you're the one that brought this up, and now you want to be extra, dressing extra, and all that. But y'all, it's a whole story on her. We're going to talk about that in another video. But yeah, she wore that outfit. And then Buttercup, I guess the guy at that time, he had a tattoo on his arm. And she was just like, oh, wow, you have a tattoo. I have a tattoo as well. Y'all, she sat there and the tattoo was like on her upper thigh. Literally, Buttercup, she lifted up her whole dress to show her thigh tattoo. But remember, she ain't have no drawers on. She didn't have no underwear on. So, like, her booty meat, cheek juice, well, not juice, but booty meat was kind of hanging out. And I'm like, I had stepped outside to take my other friend because she was leaving. So I was like, all right, girl, you have a good one. Bye. And when I come in, back into my apartment, I just see a girl dress jacked all the way up, whole ham chop out, booty meat hanging out, and showing her tattoo. And even the guy was sitting there like, he was uncomfortable. Because I was just like, I really felt at that time, I'm like, girl, you sought this up just to be extra. Just to show off. Because even when me and her would hang out, she would not dress up like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she would dress up cute, but she would not be that extra. So I was like, she was just trying to be extra. But like I said, don't be a Sheila. Don't be naive. Everyone is not your friend. Because some people want what you have, and then some people don't want you to have nothing because they're used to you being the big girl. They're used to you being the quiet one. They're used to you being the pushover. So once you start putting your foot down, they want to kind of try to humble you and put you in check. So like I said, Buttercup, everyone is not your friend. Everyone is not your friend. Sheila was naive, and she was heavy in her nice girl era. I have to tell you this, Buttercup. Nice girls without wisdom finish last. You can be a nice girl, but guess what? By you being a nice girl, you're going to finish last because you're going to be trying to play by the rules. You're going to try to be respectful. You're going to try to do all these things. And everyone does not play by the rules. Everyone is going to use kind of like their street smarts. People are jealous of you. People are hating on you. And you're trying to be a nice girl and be friends with people that are hating on you. But baby, Buttercup, they are studying you to become you. So nice girls without wisdom finish last. But if you are like the nice girl, but you got wisdom, you got discernment, you have boundaries, you're good. You know game in a sense. That's the only way you're going to really win and be successful. Because it's not trying to say you have to play games, but it's more of you need to understand the games that other people are going to try to play on you. That's all I'm saying. But Sheila was heavy in that nice girl era. Nice girl without wisdom. No. Sheila was the perfect example of faith without works is dead. Because yes, she wanted, I guess, her marriage to work or whatever, but it was faith without works. You had all these desires, but Sheila was not in the gym. Sheila was not taking time to reflect. She was so heavily involved with this man, taking care of him and all that type of stuff. And with him showing his outright disdain for her. Like, that's faith without works is dead. Like, you can pray all day, but if you are just praying and not putting no action behind it, Buttercup, it's just a dream. It's a facade. It's your imagination. Because I don't care how much you pray. I don't care how much affirmations you listen to, if you listen to affirmations in the morning, if you are not putting the work in, it's not doing nothing. You can say, I'm fine, I'm fizzine, I'm beautiful, I'm this, I'm that. But if you're not drinking your water, you're not having your green juice, you're not meal prepping, you're not doing your pretty and healthy girl walks, nothing is going to come into the physical world because you're not putting the work in. Sheila was the perfect example of faith without works is dead. So yes. Do not be a Sheila. Sheila talked down on herself whenever she had the chance. Don't be a Sheila. If you watch the movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now, yes, in the end, Sheila did, get what she got. She did win. She still overcame. But I'm talking about the beginning part of Sheila. I'm talking about that part. Yes. But she took the time whenever, because the thing is, what she did was she talked down on herself. And this was something I wouldn't say I would do, but it's almost like if you have flaws and maybe you've been made fun of, maybe you've been bullied before, and you're in a public setting or a friend setting or whatever, you'll kind of say little stuff about yourself before anyone else say anything, because maybe you're so used to being bullied or talked about, or ABUSE. You're so used to that verbally that you'll start saying these things before anyone else says it, because that's been your environment. Don't be a Sheila. Don't talk bad about yourself. Don't talk about how big you are, because that was something that got on my nerves, because she would talk about, oh, as big as I am, and this is this and that. And the dude was like, okay, well, let's change it. Like, you talking about as big as you are, because that's what Mike would do. That's what her husband would do, talk about how big she is, but never put in the work. Faith without works is dead. You talking about how big you are, but you're not putting in no type of work. You're talking all these negative things about yourself, but you're not doing nothing to change it. And at the end of the day, yeah, we can see that, she was big and stuff, but you don't have to come out and say like, oh, I'm big. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm not the prettiest one. I'm not the lightest one. I'm not the darkest one. I'm not this. I'm not the coolest girl. No one was talking about that. So it actually sounds really weird when you start a conversation, or if you're just talking with someone and you're like, oh, well, my big self, girl, I can't do that. Like, why are you saying that? Why are you talking down on yourself? Okay, you're big. We know that. You're big. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do to lose this weight? Not saying it's going to be the easiest journey, no. But what are we going to do? Now what? It's like, oh, I'm ugly. Okay, now what? We have established that you're ugly because you said it. So what are you going to do? We can get some skincare. It doesn't have to be the most expensive stuff. You got to use what you got to get to what you want, but you got to use what you got for the season that you're in. The season that you are in right now, Buttercup, is not your forever season. This is just the season you are in now. But if you choose to not do anything, this can be your forever season. Okay? I'm just talking, Buttercup. I'm just talking. Again, don't be a Sheila. That's all I'm saying, Buttercup. Sheila will always motivate others. She would help others. Like I said, she would do all this stuff and pour into other people, and she's not getting poured into. And then Sheila kept all her emotions inside. Okay? Don't be a Sheila. You need to release those emotions in a healthy and sustainable way. If you got to do a boxing class, do a boxing class. If you got to journal, you need to journal. You need to go for a pretty and healthy girl walk. You need to block some of those friends, some of those family members. If everyone is coming to you for a problem and you are the problem solver of the group, stop being a problem solver. Start being useless. Start being selfish, Buttercup. Yeah, I said it. Start being useless and start being selfish. Because once you start being selfish, once you start being useless to other people, you'll notice your phone will dry up. You're not going to get as many calls. You're not going to get as many texts. You're going to start having more money because you're not going to be giving your last little bit. I used to be the person I'm not giving you the shirt off my back. I'm not doing that. But you can have one of these shoes. You can have maybe an old shirt that I got. I'm not going to give you my last. But if I do have something extra, I would do that. I would give. But I started noticing that people will start depending on me. And I didn't like that, Buttercup. I don't like the pressure of being depended on, because I had certain family members, they would depend on me to help them out with certain things, and I would help them out. But then I started noticing, okay, you're not even trying to make the best decisions. You're just going on through life failing. You're just going on through life, just doing whatever. And you expect me to be the cleanup person. And by me being the cleanup person, I'm giving money I don't have. So now I got to work extra shifts to put that money back. But guess what, Buttercup? It gets taxed. So you got to work extra shifts just to put back what you gave, just for that same person to come back asking for some more money. And it's like, well, what did you do last time? What did you do about it? Buttercup, I had somebody, real quick, I'm going to tell the story. I had someone, they needed help, kind of like with rent or whatever. And I gave them, I think it was only, I think it was like maybe $20 or $30. They just needed something just to top off their rent, the $30. I was like, okay, here. And they said they would pay me back. And I said, okay, great. And I gave the person the $30. And then I was waiting for them to pay me back. This was years ago. I was waiting for them to pay me back. And Buttercup, it took them a long time to pay me back, to pay back the $30. And it wasn't the $30. It was more of the principle of it. Like, because $30, it's, okay, that's a fair amount. Well, I mean, that's some groceries, that's a gas tank, all of that. But for me, it was just the fact of, you asked me for this money and you said you were going to pay me back. So I'm holding you accountable to pay me back, like you said. And the person took a long time to pay me back this $30. So then I would ask them like, hey, do you have the money to pay me back? This and that. And they was like, oh, I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to pay you back. And then Buttercup, I'm watching them, because they would get, kind of like cash tips. So I'm not trying to pocket count or whatever you call it. I'm not trying to do that. But I'm seeing, okay, you're getting cash tips. I'm seeing you're still eating at, it's not kava, but you're still eating out kind of every day. And then, yeah, I'm just seeing stuff. And then you're buying other things, because they would show me, oh, I brought this new bag. I brought this new shirt. And I'm just like, okay, well, where's my $30 at? Since you're buying all this stuff. And then the person was like, well, I'm going to pay you when I get paid. And I was telling the person, I said, listen, Buttercup, when you owe people money, depending on, I don't care how big or small the amount is, you pay them back immediately. Even if you have to eat ramen noodles, you pay them back. Because if that person helped you in your time of need, giving you, whatever money you needed, you need to pay them back. So that means as soon as you get that money, you pay them that money back that you owe them, you pay it back. Or even if you have to pay half now and then pay the other half later, you don't pay people back when you want to pay them back. And I had to tell that person that. And you know what that person did, Buttercup? That person went and lifted up their mattress that had about maybe $200 under it, and then gave me the money, gave me the $30 back. And I said in my mind, at that time, I said, you know what? You will never get another dime from me. You will never get another dime from me, because you had the money the whole time and you didn't want to pay me back. You just wanted it to be like a gift or whatever. But like I said, I'm watching you spend your money every day. I'm watching you, just making bad financial decisions. So I'm watching you. So I said to myself, because I was a Sheila, but I was unlearning the Sheila-ness. And I said, you know what? I said in my mind, I will never give this person no more money again. If they ask to borrow or to help, I would never give them I would never do it. Because I said, even though it was $30, I said, this $30 is the same as $300. So if I would have gave this person, like I said, example, if I would have gave him $300, I probably would never get that money back. And it will put me at that time in a situation, because the thing with me, Buttercup, I would work. So if I didn't have the money, I would work extra shifts. I would do Uber Eats. I was door dashing. I would make it work, okay, Buttercup? Like, I would not even ask my papa for money. Even though I know I probably could have gotten it, I would not ask. I would work to get whatever I needed. So I was looking at this person at that time, and they was talking about bills and how they can be expensive and how it's just hard. And I'm like, are you working extra shifts? Are you cutting down your expenses? Like, what are you doing to make your situation better? And when I would say, well, have you worked extra shifts? They're like, no, I don't want to do that. I said, okay, I got you. So are you going to cut back on eating out? And they're like, but I love, my Chick-fil-A. I love my Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, okay, so what are you going to do to make the situation better? I said, the way it sounds like to me is you just want to do what you want to do when you want to do it, and you want other people to pay for it. And that was pretty much it. That's pretty much what that person said to it. In a roundabout way, they tried to kind of word salad it, but I was like, okay, I see what it is. And guess what, Buttercup? That person gave me the $30 back, and guess what? The next month, that person came to me, called me on the phone, was crying, trying to be like, oh, life is so hard, and they're short on their rent. And they were like, can I borrow $100 from you just to pay my rent? I will pay you back. All this crying and stuff. I said, I don't have it, Buttercup. I don't have it. And I was like, but I really, really need help to complete my rent. I really need to pay this water bill or whatever bill it was. They needed $100. And at that moment, I stopped being, a Sheila in that area. And I said, I don't have it, Buttercup. I don't have it. Even though I did have it, I'm not going to give it to her. I didn't tell the person that. I said, even though I did have it, I was not going to give it to this person, because I saw how hard it was to get this $30 back from you. So if I was to give you $100, and this, Buttercup, this was back in 2015. So $100 would take you a long way back in 2015. $100 will take you a long way. So I'm just like, if I give you $100, I know it's going to take forever to get this money back, if I even get it back. And like I said, this person was already not making the best decisions. Like I said, they're eating out every day. They are buying clothes and shoes and stuff every day. So it's pretty much, by the time rent time comes, Buttercup, they don't have no money. They're not working extra shifts. They're not doing that. So don't be a Sheila. Don't be a Sheila. Don't tolerate and engage in dysfunction. Don't do that. Because that's what that was. That was dysfunction. And that was me tolerating it to an extent, because I am funding the person to still be dysfunctional. So no, don't be a Sheila, Buttercup. I've been there, and I'm telling you, as someone that has been a Sheila, don't be a Sheila. It's not worth it. Being a Sheila, you will always lose. And then also, don't be a Sheila and circling back around. Because if you saw the White Eye Get Married 2, she pretty much circled back around. She went back to the person temporarily that abused her verbally, that said crazy stuff, that treated her so bad. She went back to help him. Because his wife, the one that he left Sheila for, the diamonds and glitz and glamour, he left Sheila for this woman. And then when he got sick, this woman left him and pretty much cleaned his bank account, or, did a lot of stuff and left him hung high and dry. And you want to call Sheila. Sheila is the cleanup woman. Do not be a Sheila. Sheila had moved on. She had lost her weight. She had got married to a new man and in a whole new relationship. I think she had children. I don't know for sure, y'all, because I haven't watched the movie in a while. Y'all let me know in the comment section. But she had did all this stuff, moved on, and Sheila circled back around to help him to quote unquote be a good Christian. No, baby, no. If that chapter of my life is done and it's closed, that's on you, buttercup. Say what you want, call it what you want. Hey, I'm selfish, and I love it. Because you are not going, if me deciding myself and choosing myself after a person has hurt me, shown me who they were, showed their true colors, if that's me being selfish, then I am a proud, selfish woman. And it's okay. I've been called selfish in my real life, buttercup, because pretty much I let certain family members run over me, and I was extending myself all over. I was pouring into everyone's cup, and I had no energy or strength to pour into my cup. That's why my weight was so high at one point in time, because I was trying to take care of everyone else, and I was keeping all my emotions inside and taking on responsibilities that were not even mine to take on. And because I stopped and put my foot down, this family member called me selfish, buttercup. She sure did. Called me selfish. And I was like, wow, because I'm not doing what you want me to do, now I am selfish. Because you are making bad decisions. And me, being a cleanup woman, will come in and help these certain family members out, so they would not experience the true weight of their negative decision, their bad decision, their bad financial decision. I will come in and clean up. So now that I am not cleaning up, you're feeling the real weight of your situation. You're feeling the real weight of your bad decisions. So now I'm selfish. No, buttercup, you make bad decisions. That's it. You're not a good steward over your finances, buttercup. That sounds like a personal problem. That's not my job. Do not be a Sheila. If someone has showed you who they were the first time, don't circle back around. I don't care how much they've changed. And if they have changed, that is great. But when you are a Sheila, and when you are in that nice girl era, and you're heavy in that nice girl era, people see that and they want to manipulate it because they know how nice you are by nature. They know how nice you are by nature. So all they have to do is do a little front, do a little cry. I've met God. I'm a different man now. I'm a different woman now. And they know 99.99999% of the time, you will come back. You will circle back around and believe that they are great, believe they are have changed. Just for them to be nice for a little bit, or to, put the mask on, and then that mask slips. But now, because you're so heavy in that nice girl Sheila era, you're praying, they're going to do right. God going to do it. God going to do it. And you're praying, and you're hobo-boing, and you're eat-ta-ta-ta. What's it called? I should have bought a Honda, but I brought a Kia. You doing all this in tongue. And God done showed you who they were. Now you have chose to go back. So now you are, in a sense, are forfeiting your blessings. You're forfeiting your future because you have circled back around. If God has delivered you from a situation, leave it alone. Do not go back. I don't care how that person has changed. If they have changed, that is great. But God delivered you for a reason. And sometimes God will deliver you from a situation so people can feel the weight of their decisions and actually change for real. Because some people don't change because they know you always going to be there. You're going to be Sheila. You're going to be that cleanup woman. You're going to come back. They know how naive you are. They know how much of a pushover you are. They know how much you accept scraps. They know how you're stuck. They know how you still are holding on to that little piece of who they was, but really that was just their mask, buttercup. You fell in love with a mask, and this is who they are. So don't circle back. Don't be a Sheila, buttercup. Okay? Don't be a Sheila. All right, that's the end of this video. Have you ever been a Sheila? Are you still a Sheila? Let's talk about it in the comment section. Until next time, buttercup, mind your business. Mind and tend to your own business. Mind and tend to that business that pays you. And if it doesn't pay you, Buttercup, you need to be minding your own business, which is drinking your green juice, going for your pretty and healthy girl walks, and meal prepping your food because it is a sign of self-love. I will catch you in the next one.